So you're 99% convinced that your chronic pain and symptoms are due to emotions and stress and overactive neural pathways. But there's still this 1% of doubt that keeps nagging at you. And it may be that that 1% of doubt is holding you back from recovering as fully as possible. So what can you do to finally erase that last pesky bit of doubt? Hi, I'm Rob Lieblein. I'm a certified pain recovery coach, and I know just how challenging it can be when you're experiencing little bits of doubt on your path to recovery. What I found helped me, and one of the things that I usually introduce to my clients early on in our work together is coming up with what's called an evidence list. So when I talk about an evidence list, I'm really just simply talking about an actual written list of personal experiences that help make the case that your symptoms are simply not due to some kind of serious medical condition. And having that kind of reassurance is good for the brain. It helps move the brain out of alarm mode and moves it into more of a safety mode, which helps tamp down those pain and symptomatic pathways. So what kind of evidence are you going to start accumulating for this list? Well, let's start with the medical side of things. First of all, you've been to your doctors and they've already helped you to rule out serious conditions like fractures and tears or tumors, infections, autoimmune disease, etc. That's really important, and your brain needs to understand that. And it may also be that the treatments that your doctors have tried with you, whether it's medications or different injections, possibly even surgery, if those haven't worked for you, that's a pretty good sign that the problem is not structural or medical in nature. And then it may come down to taking also a look at the imaging that you've had done, whether it's x-rays or MRIs. Now, if those images aren't showing anything more than what can be considered typical changes that come with aging and are perfectly normal, if they're not showing any more than that, and they're not coordinating or correlating with the intensity of the symptoms that you're having, then that is a powerful piece of evidence as well. And then when it comes to imaging, I'll also be creating another video that goes into a little more detail on the pitfalls of x-rays, MRIs, and things when it comes to chronic pain. But moving on, the next thing you can start to look at is inconsistencies in your symptoms. For example, do your symptoms move around? Are you having a pain in the shoulder one day, and then the next day you find it's your knee or your low back, or it's a migraine or something in your stomach, right? Medical conditions, genuine medical conditions, don't really operate in that manner. You may also notice that your pain levels change throughout the day, that the intensity increases and decreases throughout the day. And if the symptoms were due to structural damage, they really just wouldn't fluctuate that much. You may also be noticing that your symptoms flare up from different environmental factors, whether it's the weather or certain people or circumstances that you might be in, even things like furniture. Maybe you can sit on a couch at a friend's house and feel just fine, but your own couch really flares up your back. Those kinds of things, those kinds of inconsistencies are really powerful evidence that you're dealing with a mind-body situation. A couple of other things to look at would be that your symptoms are almost not present while you're engaged in some kind of physical activity, but when the activity is over, then you start to feel the symptoms again because your mind is thinking back to that activity. Or maybe your symptoms fade into the background whenever you're doing something that you like, when you're on vacation, maybe during the weekend, or when you're involved in an engaging activity. And those are also signs that the symptoms are indeed neuroplastic. Your own history with pain and other symptoms can be a pretty strong source for this evidence list too. Do you have a history of migraine and tension headaches, or irritable bowel syndrome, or eczema, skin conditions, and other things that are usually mind-body related? And did those things get better without any medical treatment? Now personally, before I even knew about neuroplastic symptoms and mind-body approaches to getting better, I had chronic migraines for 8 years. And all the doctors would diagnose me with was what they called primary headache, and that means I get a lot of headaches. None of the medications or other treatments that they were giving me were helpful, but eventually after 8 years, those headaches just kind of went away. And finally, you can also look to other people's success stories and scientific evidence and research. So hearing about people's success stories, people who have recovered from neuroplastic symptoms using a mind-body approach, that can be really powerful. Or making yourself more familiar with the neuroscience research around pain and even the work that Dr. Sarno did. And I should just put a little asterisk next to this one because you do want to keep some balance when you're going to collect this kind of evidence, because you don't want to get caught in the trap where you're so obsessed with collecting outside evidence and learning more and more and more that you keep feeling like maybe there's something that you missed. But in the notes to this video, I will put a couple of links to a few things that might be helpful for you in this way. So how do you create and how do you use this evidence list? Well, creating it is as simple as picking up a pen or a pencil and writing down your evidence in a notebook or a journal, or maybe even using a notes app in your phone. And just when a new piece of evidence comes to mind, when you can think of something, write it down and consistently use that evidence list. Take a look at it every day, just to remind yourself and to give your brain the reassurance it needs to start to shift out of those pain-related pathways and into a greater mode of safety. Use it whenever you feel some doubt creeping in, and you'll find over time that it helps to change your fear-based thinking and allows you a little more space and freedom to begin to heal. So to quickly recap, your brain needs a lot of reassurance to feel safe and so that you can start the healing process. And the evidence list is a great way to help support your brain in that way. So start your evidence list today. And in fact, come back to this video and put in the comments maybe 1 or 2 pieces of your own evidence. We could even start to accumulate a community evidence list and do a little work on healing together. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. If you want to learn more about neuroplastic symptoms and mind-body healing, subscribe to this channel. And if you feel like you want more personalized attention, you can always schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me by clicking the link down below in the notes to this video. So I'll see you in the next video, and until then, remember, chronic pain is not a life sentence.